You stand alone. The people who promised loyalty have vanished. Friends have become strangers. Colleagues have turned cold. The crowd that once surrounded you has scattered like smoke in wind. This moment feels like death. In Machiavelli's Florence, during the brutal politics of the Renaissance, he watched men rise to power on supporters' shoulders, only to be torn down when those same supporters shifted allegiance. Machiavelli understood something the comfortable masses never grasp. Human loyalty operates on a ledger of self-interest, and when your utility expires, so does their presence. This understanding forms the bedrock of Machiavellian principles, the foundation upon which real power is built. The question burning in your mind right now is simple. How do you win when everyone turns against you? The answer requires confronting two of history's most unflinching minds. Machiavelli, the political strategist who dissected power like a surgeon examining a corpse, and Nietzsche, the prophet who demanded we forge meaning from chaos. These men understood what your abandonment has just revealed. The world operates on laws far removed from fairy tales. Machiavelli wrote, "The prince, after losing everything, exiled from Florence." Nietzsche wrote his greatest works in complete isolation, rejected by the academic establishment. Both men turned their abandonment into intellectual empires that still dominate minds centuries later. Their life advice transcends time because it emerges from confrontation with harsh reality. Your isolation right now is not tragedy. Your isolation is the violent shattering of comfortable illusions, the necessary destruction that precedes genuine power. The psychology of power begins here, in the ruins of what you thought you knew about human nature. Machiavelli observed that men are ungrateful, fickle, liars and deceivers, fearful of danger, and greedy for gain. This sounds cynical until you examine your current situation. Those who abandoned you did not suddenly become different people. They revealed what they always were, creatures governed by interest, fear, and expedience. The loyalty you thought you possessed never existed. What existed was a temporary alignment of interests. You served a function, providing validation, resources, entertainment, or social utility. When that function ceased or the cost of association increased, they withdrew. This is the mechanical operation of human nature that Machiavellian principles describe with surgical precision. Consider the biblical story of Job. His friends surrounded him during prosperity, offering wisdom and companionship. The moment catastrophe struck, these same friends accused him of hidden sins. They did not abandon Job because he changed. They abandoned him because association with a fallen man threatened their own standing. The crowd fears contamination by proximity to the defeated. Your shock at their departure reveals your naivety about human motivation. Machiavelli would ask you a simple question. If these bonds were truly moral and genuine, why did they dissolve the moment conditions changed? Moral bonds strengthen under pressure. Interest-based bonds shatter. Understanding this distinction is the first step in developing emotional strength. You cannot build durable power on the foundation of others' affections. Affection is weather, changeable, unpredictable, governed by forces beyond your control. Machiavelli divided existence into two forces, fortuna and virtù. Fortuna represents everything beyond your control. Chance, fate, the actions of others, the random cruelties of circumstance. Virtù represents your capacity for excellence, your ability to impose will upon chaos, the strength and skill you can develop regardless of external conditions. When everyone turns against you, fortuna has struck. You cannot control their decisions, their fears, their calculations of self-interest. Raging against this reality is like cursing the ocean for being wet. What remains under your control is virtù. Machiavelli used this term to describe the cluster of qualities that enables a person to master circumstance: strategic thinking, decisiveness, courage, adaptability, ruthlessness when necessary, and the wisdom to distinguish between situations requiring force and situations requiring cunning. The river metaphor Machiavelli employs is instructive. Fortuna resembles a violent river that floods its banks, destroying everything in its path. The wise person, recognizing that floods will come, builds dams and channels during calm weather. When the flood arrives, they survive because they prepared. Your abandonment is the flood. The question Machiavelli would ask: did you build dams? Did you cultivate capabilities independent of others' approval? Or did you build your entire existence on the shifting sands of others' affections? Developing your virtù becomes the singular focus going forward. Everything else is noise. In The Prince, Machiavelli wrote one of history's most misunderstood passages: "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." The superficial reading suggests Machiavelli advocates cruelty. The deeper reading reveals a profound truth about the psychology of power. Love depends entirely on the emotional state of the other person. They love you today because you serve their needs. Tomorrow, when conditions shift, their love evaporates. Love is external to you, completely beyond your control. Fear, Machiavelli argues, depends on your consistent demonstration of capability. Fear is internal to you, a function of your demonstrated power. The deepest truth here transcends both love and fear. Genuine power depends on neither. Genuine power operates independently of others' emotions entirely. You build capabilities so formidable that their presence or absence becomes irrelevant to your core stability. The leader must stand alone. Leadership creates distance. The moment you require approval from those you lead, you have surrendered leadership. The moment you need their love, they own you. Your error, which the current abandonment has exposed, involved building your sense of worth on the foundation of others' approval. This need made you weak. Machiavellian principles demand you eliminate this dependency. Consider the Greek myth of Atlas, condemned to hold the sky on his shoulders. Atlas requires no one's permission to hold the world. He stands alone, performing his function regardless of whether anyone acknowledges his burden. This is sovereign power, the capacity to exist and operate independently of external validation. Machiavelli teaches that the effective person combines two natures, the lion and the fox. The lion represents strength, courage, the capacity to intimidate through sheer force of presence. The fox represents cunning, the ability to recognize traps, the intelligence to navigate complex social dynamics. You need both. The lion alone is stupid, falling into obvious traps. The fox alone is weak, outsmarted by stronger predators despite its cleverness. Applied to your situation, the fox analyzes why people really left. Surface reasons almost never reflect true motivations. The fox digs deeper. Did you outgrow them, making them feel inadequate? Did circumstances make association costly? Understanding true causes prevents future blindness. The lion responds with strength. You do not beg for their return. You do not apologize for being who you are. You do not diminish yourself to fit back into boxes that no longer contain you. The lion stands firm, communicating through posture and action. I do not need you. This combination, fox wisdom and lion strength, forms the core of self-mastery. Emotional strength emerges from this integration. Machiavelli's most controversial teaching involves the strategic use of cruelty. When relationships prove toxic, when associations drain your energy and undermine your development, you must cut them without hesitation or guilt. Machiavelli distinguishes between cruelty well used and cruelty poorly used. Cruelty well used is swift, decisive, and serves strategic purpose. Cruelty poorly used is prolonged, sadistic, and serves only emotional gratification. Cutting toxic connections decisively is cruelty well used. Maintaining relationships out of guilt while secretly resenting them is cruelty poorly used. Cruel to yourself, and ultimately cruel to them. The dark psychology at work here involves understanding that most people remain in harmful situations because they fear the pain of severance more than they value their own development. Machiavelli demands you overcome this fear. Your mindset must shift from "how do I avoid pain" to "what serves my strategic interests." The biblical instruction to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves captures this balance. You assess situations with ruthless clarity while maintaining your internal integrity. Nietzsche identified most humans as herd animals, creatures who find safety in sameness and terror in difference. The herd operates on a simple calculus. Conformity equals safety. Deviation equals danger. When you began growing beyond average, when you questioned shared assumptions, when you developed capacities that exceeded group norms, you triggered the herd's defensive mechanism. The herd does not consciously decide to reject the exceptional. The rejection operates at a deeper, almost instinctual level. Your difference makes them uncomfortable because it reveals their own mediocrity. Your growth demands they either grow themselves or rationalize why they remain stagnant. Growth requires effort and risk. Rationalization is easier. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche's prophet descends from the mountain to share wisdom with humanity. The crowd mocks him, misunderstands him, and eventually disperses, leaving Zarathustra alone. He learns a crucial lesson. The herd cannot follow where the exceptional must go. Your abandonment follows this pattern. You evolved beyond the group's comfort zone. They could have chosen to grow with you. Instead, they chose to preserve their comfortable stagnation by removing the uncomfortable mirror you represented. This understanding transforms abandonment from personal rejection into impersonal mechanics. They did not reject you as a person. They rejected the challenge your evolution represented to their self-image. Nietzsche's most powerful concept distinguishes between two moral frameworks that generate completely different values. Understanding this distinction is essential for how to win alone. Slave morality emerges from weakness and resentment. Unable to create, the weak define good through negation. Good is whatever is not powerful, not threatening, not different. Evil is strength, confidence, ambition, difference. Slave morality celebrates mediocrity while condemning excellence. The emotional core of slave morality is ressentiment, a French term Nietzsche uses to describe deep, hidden resentment born from powerlessness. The weak resent the strong, but cannot admit this resentment, so they construct moral systems that reframe their weakness as virtue and the strong's power as vice. Master morality operates differently. It emerges from strength and abundance. The powerful define good through affirmation. Good is strong, creative, life-affirming, courageous. Master morality celebrates excellence and views mediocrity with mild pity. The crowd that abandoned you operates from slave morality. Your growth threatened their moral framework. Rather than admitting their own stagnation, they reframed your ambition as arrogance, your confidence as narcissism, your difference as betrayal. Recognizing this dynamic prevents you from internalizing their judgment. They did not judge you from an objective moral position. They judged you from a defensive crouch, protecting their egos from the uncomfortable truth your existence represented. The path forward requires embracing master morality. You define good through your own creative affirmation. You develop emotional strength by refusing to let others' weakness-based judgments colonize your self-concept. Nietzsche identified will to power as the fundamental drive of all living things. This concept is widely misunderstood. Will to power does not mean desire to dominate others. Will to power means the drive to overcome yourself, to become more than you currently are, to express your capacities to their fullest extent. Plants demonstrate will to power when they grow toward sunlight. Artists demonstrate will to power when they struggle to perfect their craft. Will to power is the life force itself, the energy that refuses stagnation. Human beings who lose touch with their will to power become passive, reactive, enslaved to external circumstances. They seek validation from others because they have abandoned self-overcoming. Your abandonment presents a stark test of will to power. You can seek power through regaining their approval, calling them, explaining yourself, modifying your behavior to fit back into their expectations. This path directs your will to power outward, making others the source of your value. Alternatively, you can seek power through self-overcoming, using this isolation as fuel for unprecedented growth, developing capabilities you could not develop while seeking external validation. This path directs your will to power inward, making yourself the source of your value. The question Nietzsche would ask, where will you invest your life force? In seeking others' approval or in overcoming yourself? When people abandon you, a dangerous emotional pattern can emerge. You begin defining yourself through opposition to them. Your goals become reactive. I'll show them. They'll regret this. I'll succeed so they feel bad about leaving. This is resentment, and it guarantees spiritual defeat, even if you achieve external success. Resentment chains you to those who abandoned you. They still define your values, your goals, your measure of success. You have simply inverted the relationship, seeking their pain instead of their approval. Either way, they remain at the center of your psychological universe. Nietzsche observed that resentment poisons the soul more thoroughly than any external defeat. The person consumed by resentment cannot create genuine values. They can only react against what they hate. The Bible warns against this pattern. If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault, between you and him alone. When resolution proves impossible, the biblical wisdom is to shake the dust off your feet and move forward, refusing to carry the poison of unresolved grievance. Developing self-mastery requires you to examine every goal, every ambition, every action you plan. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it serves my genuine development? Or am I doing this to prove something to those who left? If the answer involves proving anything to anyone, you remain enslaved. True victory means reaching a point where you forget they exist. Their opinions, their regrets, their realizations, all become completely irrelevant to your journey. This is freedom. Nietzsche's concept of amor fati represents perhaps his most challenging teaching. The phrase translates as love of fate, but its implications are radical. Nietzsche demands you move beyond accepting your circumstances to actively loving them, wishing for nothing to be different. Most people respond to abandonment with denial or grudging acceptance. Denial says, this should not have happened. Acceptance says, okay, this happened, I'll deal with it. Amor fati says, I love that this happened. I would not change it, even if I could. The psychology of power reveals why amor fati is necessary for genuine strength. As long as you wish circumstances were different, you remain in conflict with reality. This conflict drains energy that could be directed toward growth. Amor fati ends the conflict. The practical application involves a shift in self-talk. Instead of, "Why did this happen to me?" you ask, "What can I become because this happened?" Instead of, "This is unfair," you observe, "This is real, and I will use it." This is not positive thinking or delusional optimism. This is strategic reframing based on accepting that you cannot change the past, but you can absolutely control what meaning you extract from it. The combination creates invincibility. You operate effectively within harsh reality, Machiavelli, while simultaneously affirming that reality completely, Nietzsche. No cognitive dissonance, no wasted energy wishing things were different. Nietzsche's thought experiment of eternal recurrence provides the ultimate test of whether you are living correctly. Imagine that you will live your entire life again, exactly as it is, infinite times. Every detail repeats forever. Every moment of pain, every betrayal, every loss, every struggle. The question Nietzsche poses, would you choose this life if you had to live it eternally? If your answer is no, you are living wrong. Something fundamental about your approach to existence needs to change. If your answer is yes, you have achieved what Nietzsche calls the Übermensch, the person who has overcome themselves sufficiently to affirm existence completely. Apply this to your current situation. If you had to experience this abandonment, this pain, this isolation infinite times, would you choose it? If no, you are responding incorrectly. You are wasting energy on resentment, victimhood, or fantasies about different outcomes. The eternal recurrence test forces clarity. It eliminates all actions born from spite, weakness, or reaction. If you would not want to repeat this response forever, change it now. Use eternal recurrence as a daily filter. Before each decision, ask, "If I had to make this choice and live with its consequences forever, would I?" This question cuts through rationalization and emotional reactivity, revealing whether your actions emerge from genuine strength or hidden weakness. Nietzsche describes human spiritual development through three transformations: the camel, the lion, and the child. Understanding where you are in this sequence is crucial for how to win alone. The camel represents the burden bearer. The camel kneels to accept heavy loads, carrying others' expectations, society's values, the crowd's demands. Before your abandonment, you were the camel, carrying the weight of others' approval needs. The lion represents rebellion. The lion roars, "No," at the dragon covered in scales, each scale reading, "Thou shalt." Right now, in the midst of abandonment, you are becoming the lion. You feel anger, defiance, the urge to reject everything that led to this pain. The child represents creation. The child says yes to life, playing innocently, creating new values without reference to old structures. The child is your destination, the state where you create freely, unburdened by others' judgments or your own reactive anger. Most people get stuck in the lion phase. They spend their lives defining themselves through opposition to what they hate. They achieve independence from others' expectations, but remain chained to their own bitterness. Your goal is to pass through the lion phase quickly, using its energy to break free, but not remaining there. You are moving toward the child, the creative, life-affirming state where you build new values through pure affirmation rather than negation. If you're recognizing yourself in these truths, if something in this message resonates with your current struggle, leave a comment below. And if this perspective helps you see your situation differently, subscribe so we can continue this journey together. Machiavelli and Nietzsche approach power from different angles, but their teachings integrate into a complete system. Machiavelli provides the architecture for operating effectively in the world. Nietzsche provides the philosophy for transcending the world's ability to define you. you need both. Machiavellian principles alone create effective but potentially hollow individuals. You understand power dynamics. You navigate social structures skillfully. But to what end? Without higher purpose, Machiavellian capability becomes mere manipulation, clever but meaningless. Nietzschean philosophy alone creates profound but potentially vulnerable individuals. You forge your own values. You achieve spiritual independence. But if you lack practical skills for navigating reality, the world crushes you despite your noble intentions. The synthesis creates the truly dangerous individual, someone who combines strategic excellence with transcendent purpose, someone who operates effectively in the world while remaining spiritually independent from it, someone who understands dark psychology deeply enough to defend against it while refusing to let cynicism corrupt their creative spirit. Machiavelli teaches you to play chess at the highest level. Nietzsche teaches you that chess is just a game, and your worth does not depend on winning. Combined, you play masterfully, while remaining spiritually free from the outcome. This is invincibility. The most difficult balance to strike involves seeing human nature clearly without becoming bitter. Machiavelli's realism about human selfishness and fickleness can easily curdle into cynicism. Nietzsche's diagnosis of herd mentality can breed contempt. The synthesis requires you to see humans exactly as they are: self-interested, fearful, often weak, while maintaining amor fati about this reality. You do not rage against human nature any more than you rage against gravity. You simply understand it and work within its laws. Consider the story of the scorpion and the frog. The scorpion asks the frog to carry it across the river, promising not to sting. Midway across, the scorpion stings the frog. As both sink, the frog asks why. The scorpion replies, "It is my nature." People who abandoned you acted according to their nature. Expecting them to act differently was your error, not their sin. This realization prevents bitterness. They were scorpions being scorpions. You were the frog expecting scorpions to be something other than scorpions. This understanding, paradoxically, creates compassion without naivete. You recognize that most people operate from fear and limitation. You do not hate them for being limited any more than you hate children for being children. But you also do not trust them with burdens they cannot carry. The mindset shift here is profound, from "people are terrible" to "people are what they are, and I will navigate accordingly." The most powerful application of the Machiavelli-Nietzsche synthesis involves using strategic capability to create space for spiritual development. You employ Machiavellian principles to establish independence, then use that independence for Nietzschean self-overcoming. Concretely, you develop skills that make you economically independent. This is Machiavellian, building virtù, ensuring fortuna cannot destroy you. Economic independence is not the goal. It is the foundation that enables the goal. With economic independence established, you gain freedom from needing others' approval for survival. This freedom creates space for the real work, developing your own values, pursuing genuine interests, becoming who you actually are, rather than who you must be to survive. Most people reverse this sequence. They pursue spiritual development while remaining economically dependent on systems whose approval they require. This dependency undermines their spiritual independence. You cannot genuinely develop master morality while still needing the herd's permission to eat. The strategic sequence: first, establish practical independence through Machiavellian competence. Second, use that independence for Nietzschean self-creation. Power in the world creates freedom from the world. Both Machiavelli and Nietzsche understood that genuine power requires solitude. The synthesis transforms your current isolation from painful abandonment into powerful workshop, You are not lonely. You are alone in the way that blacksmiths are alone with metal, sculptors alone with stone. This reframing is crucial for emotional strength. Loneliness is the feeling of lacking something necessary. Solitude is the possession of something valuable. Same circumstance, completely different relationship to it. Practically, this means structuring your alone time intentionally. You establish routines of self-development, physical training that builds capability and discipline, intellectual study that sharpens your understanding, creative work that expresses your emerging values, strategic planning that directs your energy effectively. The crowd cannot follow you into this workshop. Their chatter would disrupt the focused silence where real transformation occurs. Their mediocre advice would dilute the concentrated wisdom you are distilling from your experience. Your abandonment cleared the workshop. Use it. The deepest synthesis occurs when you combine Nietzsche's amor fati with Machiavelli's concept of virtù. Amor fati teaches you to love your fate, including the abandonment you experienced. Virtù teaches you to master your fate through capability and strategic action. The paradox: how do you love circumstances while simultaneously working to change them? The resolution: you love what happened in the past, the abandonment, the pain, the revelation of others' true nature. You recognize these events as necessary for your development. You would not change them because they made you who you are becoming. Simultaneously, you refuse to passively accept what happens next. You employ virtù to shape future circumstances. You build capabilities that prevent future vulnerability. You establish positions of strength that make others' abandonment irrelevant to your well-being. This temporal distinction is crucial. Amor fati applies to the past and present, what is and what was. Virtù applies to the future, what can be shaped. You love the hand you were dealt while playing it with absolute strategic excellence. This combination creates psychological stability that most people never achieve. You experience no resentment about the past because you love it as necessary. You experience no anxiety about the future because you are actively building your capacity to shape it. The life advice here is profound. Stop wishing the past were different. Start making the future different. Truth 1. They were never truly with you. The hardest truth to accept is that the loyalty you thought you possessed was always illusion. From the beginning, their presence in your life operated on conditional terms you did not recognize because the conditions were being met. Machiavelli would ask, what did you provide them? Validation for their choices, social status through association, entertainment, financial support. Each person had reasons for maintaining the relationship, and those reasons had nothing to do with unconditional love. When you changed, when you grew, when you questioned shared assumptions, when you could no longer provide what they needed, the conditional nature of their presence became visible. They did not betray you. They simply stopped receiving value from the exchange and withdrew. Nietzsche would add, "The herd only tolerates you while you remain within acceptable bounds. The moment you exceeded their comfort zone, you became threatening. Herd animals expel threats instinctively." This truth is liberating once you fully accept it. You stop asking, "Why did they leave?" The question was answered before you asked it. They left because conditions changed, and their presence was always conditional. Truth 2. Most people choose comfortable slavery over difficult freedom. When you began pursuing genuine freedom, freedom to think independently, to develop according to your own values, to question what everyone accepts, you implicitly invited those around you to choose freedom as well. Most refused. Freedom is terrifying. Freedom means taking full responsibility for your choices, your life, your development. Freedom means abandoning the comfort of shared delusions. Freedom means standing alone when the herd provides safety in numbers. Most people, given the choice between comfortable slavery and difficult freedom, choose slavery every time. They prefer the known cage to the unknown wilderness. They prefer being told what to think, what to value, what to become. Your growth made their chosen slavery visible to them. You became a walking reminder of the freedom they refused. Rather than examining their choice, they eliminated the reminder. You. This is why Nietzsche's Zarathustra learns not to save those who do not wish to be saved. You cannot free people who prefer their chains. The application here is ruthless. Stop trying to bring people with you who do not want to come. Stop explaining yourself to those who prefer not to understand. Truth 3. The world owes you nothing. Every child is taught fairness. These teachings, while perhaps necessary for civilizing children, become dangerous delusions in adulthood. Machiavelli observed that the universe operates on power, not justice. Those with capability take. Those without capability lose. Waiting for cosmic justice or karmic balance is waiting for something that will never arrive. Nietzsche went further. The universe has no moral character whatsoever. There is no cosmic accountant tallying good deeds and bad deeds. There is only will to power, life forms struggling to maximize their expression of vitality. Your abandonment was not unfair. Unfair implies violation of some cosmic standard of justice. No such standard exists outside human imagination. What happened was simply what happened. People acted according to their nature and their interests. Waiting for those who abandoned you to realize their mistake, to feel guilty, to apologize. All of this is waiting for fairness that will never arrive. They will likely justify their decision, convincing themselves they were right to leave. This truth, while harsh, is freedom. Once you stop waiting for justice, for recognition, for vindication, you can direct that energy toward building actual power. You stop being a victim waiting for rescue and become an agent creating your own future. Truth 4. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Here is why your abandonment is the best thing that could have happened. You were becoming too comfortable. Comfort breeds stagnation. Safety breeds weakness. The familiar breeds death of the spirit. Every great achievement in human history emerged from someone who left comfort behind. Abraham left his homeland. Moses led his people into the wilderness. Every hero's journey begins with departure from the known world. You did not choose to leave comfort. Comfort was torn from you. But the result is the same. You now have the opportunity greatness requires. You have been forced into the wilderness where transformation occurs. The crowd that abandoned you offered comfort in exchange for limitation. Stay small, think small, want small things, and you could remain part of the group. The price of belonging was the death of your potential. Now that price no longer binds you. You are free to become as large as your capabilities allow. You are free to think dangerous thoughts, pursue unreasonable goals, become whoever emerges from your self-overcoming. Most people never receive this gift. They remain comfortable until death, never discovering what they might have become. Your abandonment is violent grace, the painful gift that removes obstacles to your own greatness. Truth 5. Victory looks nothing like you imagine. You imagine victory means they come back, they apologize, they realize they were wrong. You graciously accept, demonstrating your magnanimity. This fantasy is defeat disguised as victory. If you still care whether they return, they still own you. If you still need their recognition of their error, they still define your worth. Real victory, combining Machiavellian and Nietzschean wisdom, looks completely different. Real victory means reaching a state where you genuinely do not care if they return. Their apology, should it come, interests you no more than yesterday's weather. Real victory means you have developed virtue so thoroughly that you cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Real victory means you have overcome yourself so completely that you have transcended need for external validation entirely. Real victory means you forget they exist. You are so absorbed in your own becoming, so engaged with your own projects, so fulfilled by your own development that they simply cease to occupy space in your consciousness. This is the victory worth pursuing. This is how to win alone. Everything else is distraction. Your first task is developing capabilities independent of anyone's approval or support. Machiavellian principles demand you become formidable in practical terms. Assess your current skills. What can you do that creates value in the world? What capabilities make you useful, regardless of social circumstances? What knowledge do you possess that others need? For every weakness you identify, create a development plan. You become strong through systematic training. You develop skill through deliberate practice. You study until you are knowledgeable. This process is brutal and unglamorous. There are no shortcuts. Developing genuine virtue requires thousands of hours of focused effort, but this is precisely why it works. Most people will not do it. Economic independence deserves special attention. As long as you depend on others for survival, you remain vulnerable to their withdrawal of support. Build skills that generate income independently. Physical capability matters more than most realize. A strong body creates a strong mind. Physical training builds discipline, pain tolerance, and confidence. When you know you can endure physical hardship, psychological hardship becomes easier to navigate. Intellectual development sharpens your understanding of dark psychology, power dynamics, and human nature. Study history, philosophy, strategy. Build a mental framework that helps you understand what you are experiencing. Nietzsche's instruction to revalue all values means examining every belief, every goal, every standard you are living by. Ask yourself, who gave me this value? Do I genuinely believe it? If I had to live by this standard forever, would I choose it? Most people live by inherited values, beliefs absorbed from parents, culture, religion, peers. These inherited values may or may not align with who you actually are. Your abandonment creates an opportunity to question everything. Create 2 lists. First, write every value you currently live by. Second, for each value, note where it came from. Did you choose it consciously or absorb it unconsciously? Now the hard work. Keep only values you would choose if you had to live by them eternally. Discard everything else, regardless of who will be offended. This is your life. You do not owe anyone the sacrifice of living by their values instead of your own. This process is frightening because it means potentially becoming someone unrecognizable to those who knew you. Good. You are not seeking their recognition. You are seeking your own authenticity. The difference between loneliness and solitude is entirely mental, entirely within your control. Loneliness is the feeling that you lack something necessary. Solitude is recognition that you possess something valuable, time and space for focused development. Structure your alone time intentionally. Create routines that use solitude productively. Morning meditation or reflection. Focused work on projects that matter to you. Physical training. Evening study or reading. Creative expression. Remove all passive consumption of content designed to make you feel less alone. Social media that makes you compare your life to others' curated highlights. Entertainment that numbs rather than enriches. Replace passive consumption with active creation. Write, even if no one reads it. Build things, even if no one sees them. The goal is not external recognition. The goal is becoming someone whose internal life is so rich that external validation becomes redundant. Solitude is the workshop where you forge self-mastery. The crowd cannot follow you here because the work is internal. This is not isolation from necessity. This is sovereign independence. Amor fati does not happen automatically. The instruction to love your fate, including painful abandonment, requires deliberate practice until the practice becomes genuine. Start each day with this affirmation, spoken aloud. I love my life exactly as it is. I would not change the past, including my abandonment, because it made me who I am becoming. If I had to live this life infinitely, I would choose it. Initially, this will feel false. You are forcing words you do not believe. Continue anyway. The repetition is rewiring neural pathways, training your brain to find the genuine reasons why amor fati applies to your situation. As you speak the words, look for evidence that supports them. What capabilities did the abandonment force you to develop? What illusions did it shatter? What freedom did it create? Focus on these genuine benefits until they become more real than the pain. End each day with the eternal recurrence test. If I had to live today exactly as I lived it, infinite times, would I choose it? If the answer is no, identify specifically what you did wrong and plan to change it tomorrow. This daily practice, maintained over months, gradually transforms your relationship with your past. The transformation is about integrating pain into a larger story where it serves necessary purpose. The fundamental question each morning should be, who will I become today that I was not yesterday? Nietzsche's philosophy reduces to this single imperative: overcome yourself constantly. Self-overcoming means identifying your current limits and pushing past them. You run a certain distance, tomorrow you run farther. You understand concepts to a certain depth, tomorrow you study deeper. This is not arbitrary self-improvement for its own sake. This is deliberate cultivation of your will to power, your drive to become more. The content of what you improve matters less than the consistent practice of improvement itself. Create specific challenges that force growth. If you fear public speaking, speak publicly. If you avoid conflict, engage in necessary confrontation. Every conquered fear, every expanded capacity, every new skill is a victory over your former self. This focus on self-overcoming provides direction independent of others. You do not pursue goals to impress those who left. You pursue goals because becoming more capable is inherently satisfying to will to power. The person you were when they abandoned you is not the person you are becoming. That person needed them. The person you are becoming needs no one. You will know you have achieved genuine victory when specific markers appear. These markers are internal, requiring no external validation. First marker. You can think about those who abandoned you with complete emotional neutrality. They have become facts of your history, no more emotionally charged than any other fact. You do not hate them. You do not miss them. They simply are what they are, and you have moved beyond caring. Second marker. You have developed virtue sufficient to make you independent. Economic independence means you do not fear loss of relationships. Emotional strength means you can endure difficulty without collapsing. Physical strength means you trust your body to handle challenges. Third marker. You have created your own values through Nietzschean revaluation. Your goals emerge from your authentic will to power, not from reaction against others. You know what you value and why. You live according to these values regardless of others' opinions. Fourth marker. You can honestly affirm eternal recurrence. If you had to live your life exactly as it is, including the abandonment and pain, infinite times, you would choose it. This is deep recognition that every element of your life, including suffering, was necessary to forge who you have become. Fifth marker, you embody the synthesis of Machiavellian strategy and Nietzschean transcendence. You understand power dynamics and navigate them effectively, but you remain spiritually independent from outcomes. These markers represent genuine self-mastery, the integration of Machiavellian principles with existential freedom. The journey from camel to child, from dependent to sovereign, from abandoned to invincible, this transformation is complete when you recognize a fundamental shift in your being. You have stopped asking permission. You do not need others to validate your choices, approve your path, or confirm your worth. You decide what you will become and become it through systematic application of will. You have stopped explaining yourself. Those who understand need no explanation. Those who do not understand will not be convinced by explanation. You live your values visibly through action, requiring no verbal defense. You have stopped seeking revenge. The person consumed by need to punish those who abandoned them remains chained to them. You have transcended that need entirely because you have transcended them entirely. You have stopped waiting for recognition. Whether they eventually realize they were wrong does not matter. Whether they regret their decision does not matter. None of it matters because they no longer occupy space in your psychological universe. You create from abundance rather than reacting from scarcity. Your projects emerge from surplus energy seeking expression. You are the child in Nietzsche's metamorphosis, innocent, playful, creative, saying yes to life without reservation. This transformation requires constant maintenance. You can regress to lion or even camel if you stop practicing self-overcoming, if you stop applying amor fati, if you let resentment back in. But if you maintain the practices, if you continue developing virtue while pursuing self-overcoming, you become something most people never imagined possible: free. The ultimate paradox of this entire journey is this: you win by no longer caring about winning. You achieve power by transcending need for power. You find connection by becoming complete in solitude. As long as their abandonment matters to you, they win. As long as you need them to regret leaving, they own you. As long as any part of your self-worth depends on their recognition, you remain enslaved. Genuine victory means their entire existence becomes irrelevant to yours. Whether they thrive or suffer, whether they realize their error or remain convinced they were right, none of it touches you because you have moved beyond the game entirely. This is not indifference born from suppressed pain. This is indifference born from such complete self-possession that external circumstances lack power to disturb your internal equilibrium. Machiavelli would recognize this as perfect virtue, capability so developed that fortuna cannot destroy you regardless of what it brings. Nietzsche would recognize this as the Übermensch, the person who has overcome themselves thoroughly enough to create their own values independent of herd morality. You become dangerous in the deepest sense, someone who cannot be controlled through others' approval or disapproval, someone who cannot be manipulated through fear of abandonment, someone who has transcended the entire system of social control that keeps most humans compliant. This danger is your freedom. This freedom is your victory. You stand where Machiavelli stood after Florence exiled him, where Nietzsche stood as the academic world rejected him, where every person who ever achieved genuine independence stood. Alone, stripped of comfortable illusions, facing the harsh truth of existence. This moment is not tragedy. This moment is opportunity unprecedented in its potential. The crowd abandoned you because you began outgrowing them. They could not follow where you were heading because the path requires capabilities they refused to develop. Their departure was not verdict on your worth. Their departure was evidence of your evolution. Now you have a choice that will determine the entire trajectory of your life. You can attempt to regain their approval, modifying yourself to fit back into the box that no longer contains you. This is the path of the camel, returning to carry burdens that will crush your spirit. Or you can use this isolation to develop virtue that makes you invulnerable, to practice amor fati until you genuinely love your fate, to pursue self-overcoming until you transcend need for external validation entirely. This is the path of the lion, becoming the child, the path of sovereign power. The psychology of power, the dark psychology of how human relationships actually function. All of this you now understand. Ignorance is no longer available as excuse. You cannot unsee what you have seen. Your emotional strength will be tested. Loneliness will tempt you to compromise. Fear will whisper that you cannot survive alone. Doubt will suggest that maybe you were wrong. Maybe you should apologize. Maybe you should return. Ignore these voices. They are echoes of your former weakness, death throes of your dependency. Push through them to the other side, where self-mastery waits. Build your life on the rock of genuine capability, not the sand of others' affections. Develop skills that make you valuable, regardless of who stays or goes. Create economic independence that removes fear from your calculations. Forge emotional strength that allows you to endure any abandonment without collapsing. Simultaneously, revalue everything you thought you knew. Create your own values. Decide what success means to you, independent of others' definitions. Determine what life you want to live if you had to live it eternally. Become who you actually are beneath the masks you wore for others. This is how to win alone. This is the life advice that Machiavelli and Nietzsche, separated by centuries, united by unflinching realism, would offer you. This is the mindset that transforms abandonment into liberation. When everyone turns against you, you discover whether you possess real power or whether you were always dependent on their support. You discover whether your values are truly yours or whether you were living someone else's story. You discover who you become when no one is watching, no one is validating, no one is there to catch you if you fall. Most people fail this test. They cannot bear the weight of their own freedom. They rush back to familiar cages, settling for comfortable slavery because difficult liberty proves too demanding. But you are not most people. If you were, you would not have been abandoned. Average does not get rejected by the herd. Average gets absorbed and digested and forgotten. You were rejected because you are becoming something the herd cannot contain. Honor that becoming. Accelerate that becoming. Make their rejection the catalyst for your transformation into someone so formidable, so self-possessed, so sovereignly independent that their approval becomes meaningless. This is your moment. Seize it with both hands. Build the power that requires no permission. Create the meaning that needs no validation. Become the person who can say with complete honesty, I love my life exactly as it is. I would change nothing. If I had to live it again infinite times, I would choose it gladly. That person is invincible. That person has won completely. That person is who you are becoming right now in the fire of this abandonment, through the forge of this pain. Welcome to your sovereignty. Welcome to your power. Welcome to the rest of your life.